It's big, it's red, rectangular, and has words "congratulations" on it. Now ask yourself, what could this be? It can only be one thing with large T in the corner of it. It was an acceptance letter addressed to yours truly from Temple University. Now, although my initial reaction was one of excitement, joy, and most of all relief, I started to think of the dark side associated with this acceptance letter. Am I going to get enough financial aid? A grant? Those interest rates? Oh my God, am I going to get debt? Now, I'm sure that all of us as college students can agree that the most challenging issue when choosing a university is financing this experience, thinking about choosing the right grant, the right loan, so on and so forth. As you may recall, in my last speech, I mentioned that college tuition is rising at a national rate of 14.1%. This statistic affects everybody in this room, from Dr. Conway to us as students, citizens, and taxpayers in this very rough economy. This issue has been a problem across the country for some time now, and it's even happening in our own backyards. As we know, Philadelphia is known for its prestigious institutions, and what I will now share with you is the tuition increases of some of these schools that has occurred within the last 10 years. Now, in 2002, University of Penn, which is an Ivy League institution, was around $25,000, and LaSalle University, which is a private institution, was around $24,000. Now, in 2008, both schools' tuition has increased a great deal. UPenn is pushing 36 grand, and LaSalle was at around 31 grand. With costs rising at a ridiculously fast pace and the economy in shambles, hopefully today I can get you to all thoroughly understand some of the effects and causes behind the rising cost of tuition. I will present many statistics, examples, and testimony my well-researched sources provided me, and hopefully we can all acquire a better understanding of this issue and start looking towards a possible solution. Now, some of the effects may include, one of the effects I'm going to start off with is the balance of school and work. Now, many of us as working class adults and as working class, kids of our families, we try to balance school, work, and sometimes even a social life. But as we all know, that balancing a full-time schedule and a full-time schedule and a full-time roster can be a strain on anybody, no matter how hard you try. The balance of school and work, the balance of school and work does not equally occur within your work, because the more you put into your job, you try to do 40 hours a week, and you try to maintain a full class schedule, the work will not correlate. Your work may suffer in terms of your schoolwork. Aaron Sandonato was a Georgia Southern University student who entered college in 1997 with a B average. Now, due to her having a B average, she received many scholarships and many grants, which paid for her room and board, tuition, and all her books. But, as we know, many things may happen in life and it may not go the way you planned. Her family ended up moving from Georgia to Florida. So therefore, her sophomore year, she ended up moving to Florida and attending the University of Central Florida to be closer to her family. Now, she may have thought this was a good move for her life, but it was not a very good move for her college career. Being as though on her FAFSA form, her parents put down the actual amount that they made, her parents made too much money for her to receive any state-subsidized loans or grants. So therefore, she ended up paying out of pocket when she transferred schools. Now, this may have been, I know she's kicking herself in the butt right now because this was a very bad decision. Her parents now paying out of pocket, and now she's in debt. So during that same year, her sophomore year, she ended up dropping out to work 2 jobs, which was one as a clerk at a mall and one as a waitress. But in the words of Sandonato herself, she claims that physically and financially, I just couldn't work 40 hours a week and take a full class load. So she dropped out of school. But she ended up going back to school, unlike many others, and actually attaining her bachelor's degree in public relations from the University of West Florida. Now, although she ended up getting her degree over the course of 6 years, she also acquired $45,000 in debt and is now thinking about just going to pay all that back. Now, many of us borrow without thinking about our future. We tend to borrow these loans on impulse, thinking about now, the books we need now, the things we need right now, and not thinking about how it will affect our future or our credit in the future. Many of us go into debt. We don't think about the fact that it could affect our credit on getting a house or getting a car, or what it can do to us as professionals. What I think about these loan companies, I think they think of us as vulnerable students or as deer in headlights. They think of us as, we're going to get what we need, so we're going to give them what they need, and they butter us up to try to make it sound all good without adding on, that little bit of interest that's going to happen within 4 to 5 years after you have that loan. According to an article on studentloan.com, which is a very good resource for educating yourself on loans and of such, 65.7% of four-year undergraduate students graduate with an average of $19,000 in debt. Now this is a very staggering statistic, because that means that everybody that graduates, or most of us who graduate, before we even become working professionals with any kind of real income, we enter into the world of debt before we even enter the real world of being a working professional. On another article, on this same website, I found a quote that says, those acquiring a master's degree have a cumulative debt of $42,406, and those getting a law degree have a cumulative debt of $80,000. So basically what this is telling us is that the more you try to learn, or the more you try to better yourself, the more learning you get, the more you have to pay out, which I think is very unfair to us who wants to, which I think is very unfair to us who want to be all that we can be. Now the college dropout rate has risen at 15%. People are scared to go to college. People are dropping out of high school because they don't want to face the fact of the possibility of paying back debt, or thinking about how they want to pay for it when they get into school. In an article on New York Times, a person with a high school diploma has a total life earning of $1 million, while a person graduating with a bachelor's degree or higher makes between $4.5 to $8.5 million. So as we all know, this is the reason why we're here. College is the path to possibilities. You better yourself by coming to college. Now that I've talked to you about one effect, I'm going to now talk to you about some other effects. According to Jennifer A. Kingston, an author of the New York Times, Sallie Mae has a $127 billion debt portfolio and $10 million borrowers. Now this is very staggering, because this is saying that Sallie Mae, which is known for its student loans, has all of these borrowers. Now although the loans are parallel to the tuition rates, the interest rates aren't. So therefore we get the loans and the money that we need at the time, but they, as I mentioned before, they get the interest rates that we're going to end up paying later on in life. Kingston claims that Sallie Mae is starting to look more like J.P. Morgan, Chase, Citigroup, and Bank of America, and Wells Fargo, whose eagerness to court the student marketplace stems in part from the potential to pick up customers for life. And I feel very disrespected by this, because this is telling me that the more I try to go to school, the more I try to better myself, these companies are looking at me as, as prey. They're like vampires and we're like prey. They're trying to suck all that they can out of us while they can, and therefore they become a lifelong priority. Paying them back becomes a lifelong priority to us as working professionals. And now that I've talked to you about the many effects behind the rising cost of tuition, I'm going to go into some of the causes that I think are very critical to this issue. Competition among schools and capital spending are two main causes that tuition is rising. Cornell economist Ronald G. Ehrenberg, in his book Tuition Rising, describes a kind of arms race among the nation's top schools to have the best of everything: the best facilities, the best faculty, and strong sports teams to engender loyalty among alumni donors. So this is telling me that we're not paying for our actual education. We're paying for how much they're paying the coach. We're paying for the apartments that they're using on campus instead of a dorm room. We're paying for the better looking gym, the better pool, instead of us actually getting cheaper books, you know what I'm saying? 1/2 of 2/3 of a school's budget goes to paying the facility. So you ask yourself, why aren't our professors riding around in Lexus and having big houses on the hills? I'll tell you why. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the median salary of a full-time college educator is $46,300. So where's all this money coming from? Why are they rising tuition? Are we paying for our professors? Are we paying their bills? Or are we paying the bills of the school? Think about it. You're benefiting the school's name. You're benefiting the name of a UPenn, of a Yale, of a Duke. You're not benefiting yourself. You're benefiting these schools when you go. Now I'll talk to you about some of the causes. I'm going to go into some solution that I think we can come to. Now, the rising cost of college tuition is inevitable because it's based off of inflation, which is the rising cost of living over time. So therefore, we cannot control it. We cannot stop it. It's going to happen. But there are all ways we can prepare ourselves to make this better for ourselves. What you can do is you can lighten the amount of loans. You can take out different loans. You can take out special loans. You can consolidate these loans when you take them out. You can look more towards the state. The state can give you more loans. You can start, as many of us did, 2 years at a community college and then transfer at a 4-year. Inside Higher Education by Doug Lieberman, he claims the following. Legislators should propose a series of bills that in one way or another punish colleges that raise their prices at more than twice the rate of inflation. I would have to say I agree with this because therefore it would make the state give us more money. Dr. Thomas D. Parker, Senior Associate at the Institute for Higher Education Policy, claims that both sides claims that this issue has even affected the recent presidential debate, and neither side really came up with a solution. Both sides were terribly concerned with college costs, but neither side seems to have had concrete ideas about what to do. So as we see, this is an inevitable issue and it will keep on rising. But as we are becoming better and bettering ourselves and becoming more educated of the world around us and the economy, we can make it better on ourselves. We don't have to feed into what they're telling us. We can do things like consolidate, like take out lesser loans, like try to get as many grants as you can, take out, things of that nature, just to make it better on us. So in closing, although this issue is inevitable, we cannot let this defeat us as students. The whole point of coming to college is to challenge yourself, to expand your mind, and to make yourself better. This is a challenge, especially with the economy the way it is right now. But what we can do is prepare ourselves for the constant rise and become aware and try to make it as easy as possible for us, for our future, and for the future of our children. Thank you.